Hey everybody, this is Troy over at Uncomfortable Truths. Thanks for checking me out. So today we have to cover Donald Trump again because he's decided that he is going to go ahead and trample over all of our Second Amendment rights and say that you don't have a right to carry a weapon and exercise your Second Amendment right at a protest. Now this is absolutely ridiculous, but let's go ahead and get into the article. All right, everybody. So we've got this from Politico. President Donald Trump on Tuesday again insisted Alex Preddy shouldn't have been armed with a handgun when he was deleted by federal immigration agents in Minnesota. Remarks that could further inflame tensions with gun right advocates. Well, it should absolutely inflame tensions with gun right advocates because this shouldn't have happened. Alex Preddy has every right to be protesting and be armed at the same time. It is all of our rights to bear arms, and that is something that Donald Trump has promised that he was going to protect. But the moment that it was somebody on the opposing side of the political spectrum, all of a sudden he's not for it anymore, and Donald Trump wants to attack the Second Amendment. Guys, you really have to remember, in 2020, we had Donald Trump lose an election, and people went out and they protested that election. They didn't believe in the results, and fair enough. Americans have every right to protest, and during those protests, they're able to be armed. They absolutely had every right to bear arms when they were protesting. And of course, some of them broke into the Capitol. They did things they absolutely should not have done. But the vast majority of the people, they didn't. The vast majority of people that were advocating for and out using their Second Amendment rights, they didn't do anything wrong either. And Donald Trump was all for their right to protest then. But now that it's somebody on the left, he's not for it at all. And guys, we just can't have this double standard. If you aren't going to support the rights for your neighbors that you disagree with, then you're going to lose those rights for yourself. That's just the reality of how this works. But honestly, guys, this gets even worse. The president said he hadn't heard the assessment from some of his top officials, including Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, that Preddy was a domestic terrorist or an assassin, but said certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. So when he's out there saying these things, what's really going on is he's just saying, look, we have a different set of standards for my people than we do for your people. And whether you're on the right or on the left, that should be completely unacceptable to you. Because if you don't defend your rights, then you will not get them. And guys, this is going to turn. We have the midterms coming up, and Donald Trump is in a horrible position to be winning these elections. People are not happy with the economy. People are not happy with the way he's rolled out these ICE immigrations. He is not going to do well in the midterms. That's something that's almost a fact at this point. And if I'm wrong, well, I guess you can come back to this video and you can leave a comment roasting me for it. But frankly, the midterms almost always go against the incumbent. So I don't think that that's going to be a real change because right now Trump isn't winning on any front. He's losing when it comes to foreign policy. He's losing on tariffs. He's losing on immigration. We are seeing a historic fallout for Donald Trump. So then Trump goes on to say, I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I'd say it's very unfortunate, Trump said while visiting a restaurant in Iowa. Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter if you like it or not. And by the way, having a gun and having a couple of magazines with it is standard practice for anybody that's using a concealed carry permit. You're not going to have just one single magazine. That's absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, it's kind of irrelevant to the point. If he had 100 magazines on him, that's his right. He has a permit. And guys, I don't even agree with what this person was doing. I don't even agree necessarily with the protests that are going on because you had this one bad actor. You had a few of these agents that are doing horrific things. Now, all of a sudden, what, we're not going to enforce immigration law? I think it's ridiculous. But that isn't the main point here. The main point is you have the president of the United States going out and saying that his political opponents aren't allowed to carry any sort of arms. No, they absolutely are. And that principle is more important than any of these single issues that we might be talking about, because you do not get special privileges for your political side of the aisle just because your team happens to be in power at the moment. Because guys, again, it's just going to flip over here in a minute anyway. So Preddy had a permit to carry, yet administration officials have criticized him for being armed, drawing a sharp rebuke from Second Amendment advocates. And guys, this is 100% justified. Just to hammer this point home, imagine that this was flipped and you had some right-winger that was gunned down by some left-wing cop. It would be an absolutely horrific thing, and we would all be out here saying the exact same stuff. We would say, hey, that person has a right to carry. They didn't do anything wrong. And then if we did find out something like this, Alex Preddy guy seemed like he was one of these people that goes to every single protest, honestly, to stir up trouble. He'd kicked out a taillight from ICE vehicles previously, like 11 days before. But again, even that doesn't matter, because what we are talking about is this person was deleted, really just shot in the back after using his First Amendment right to protest and his Second Amendment right to carry. The guy clearly was not a threat to these ICE officers, and he was taken away anyway. Just because you went and you did some stupid protest and you did something violent, I guess, by kicking out a taillight 11 days before, that doesn't give these ICE officers justification. And Trump's knee-jerk reaction is to attack his political opponents and to say that his side did nothing wrong, when we can all see in that video they did do something wrong. This was absolutely unacceptable. And the uncomfortable truth is, guys, a lot of us that thought that Donald Trump was going to be fair and balanced and he was going to actually protect our rights, we were wrong. Because his knee-jerk reaction is to use these authoritarian tactics to attack our Second Amendment. So that's what I have on this one. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.